All right, 6th grade. So our second lesson in chapter 6, lesson 6.2, we're going to learn about how to multiply fractions. Multiplying fractions together, okay? Hillary, what's the first step?
Convert all numbers to fraction form.
Right, convert all numbers to fraction form. When we're multiplying by fractions, if you have a whole number, it says 5 times 2/3, okay? The first thing you have to do is write the whole number as a fraction. So write that down next to convert all numbers to fraction form. If you have a whole number, you have to write the whole number as a fraction. How do you write a whole number as a fraction? You just write the whole number over 1. So 5 is the same as 5 over 1. No, 5 over 5 is 1. 5, the number 5, is the same as 5 over 1. Not 5 over 5. So you have to write it over 1 for a whole number. Okay? Write this one down. What if it was 1 1/2 times 2/3? How would you write that in fraction form? Bennett?
So don't you add the number of the denominator to the number on top?
Well, yeah, we convert this to a top-heavy fraction, right?
Yep.
So we do the whole number times the denominator. So 1 times 2 is 2. And then what do we do with the numerator, Matt?
We times it by 1.
Pay attention, you're not looking up here, okay? What do?
You plus it by 1.
Plus it, yeah. So 1 times 2 plus 1. What's 1 times 2 plus 1?
3.
3. So we would rewrite 1 1/2 as 3/2. And then multiply it by 2/3. Okay? 3/2 times 2/3. Okay? So you have to convert all mixed numbers to top-heavy fractions. You have to write whole numbers as the whole number over 1. Then you can go to step 2. Once both of them are written as fractions, then go to step 2. It says reduce or factor out all common factors. And that means that when you look at the numbers that are diagonally across from each other, if they have common factors, then reduce them. What do you notice about this one? Yeah, this is 2 over 2. They have a common factor. 2 is the common factor. So we can reduce this 2 over 2 to 1 over 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. And you can do the same thing to the 3's. Take out the 3's out of both of these numbers. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 3 divided by 3 is 1.
What answer's 4?
What?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
No.
1 over 1.
Did you guys read step 3?
Did you read the top? It says multiply.
Multiply across the top. What numbers are left on the numerator? What numbers are left on top? 1 times 1. What's 1 times 1?
1.
Then across the bottom, 1 times 1.
1.
1. And then reduce or write the answer in lowest terms or simplest form. What's 1 over 1?
1. So,
going back, 1 1/2 times 2/3 is 1.
Why do we have to do the, okay, I get the division, but 2 divided by 2 equals 1. But you don't have to do the division again. You don't have to do it over 2 divided by 2 is 1 again. You just do it one time and that's all. Why do we do it like 2 times?
You have to do that for both numbers.
Oh, so 2 divided by 2 equals 1 and then you do it and then you switch 2 divided by 2. Okay, that's very well.
Yep. You have to do that for both numbers. Okay? Let's look at another example. Let's do 8/9 times 5/12. They're already in fraction form, right? So we don't have to rewrite the numbers. So step 1 is done. Let's go to step 2. Factor out common factors. So look at the numbers diagonally across from each other. Do 5 and 9 have any common factors? Nope. So you can't change those. How about 8 and 12? Can you factor out a numbers out of 8 and 12? What can you factor out of 8 and 12? Or what's the biggest number that you could factor out of 8 and 12, Peter?
4.
4. Take the 4 out of 8 and you're left with 2. Because 2 times 4 is 8. And take the 4 out of 12.
3.
3. You're left with 3. Because 3 times 4 is 12. Alright. Now, do step 3. So what numbers are left up on top? 2 times 5. And what the numbers are left on the bottom? 9 times 3. Can we factor this?
Yeah.
What's the rule for factoring? They have to be on opposite sides of the division bar. In order to factor out, you have to have them on, they have to be on the opposite sides of the division bar, of the fraction bar. So we just, the only thing we can do is just multiply 9 and 3. 27. Okay? Questions on that? Okay. One more. Let's do one more example. Sometimes you'll have more than one number, or more than 2 numbers that you're multiplying. Like 1/2 times 4/5 times 1 3/8. Okay. So, what do you have to do first? You have to make sure they're all in, read it?
Fraction form.
Fraction form.
So then to the 1/3/8, you have to make the 1 and 8 over 8.
So 1 times 8 plus 3 is 1 times 8 is 8, plus 3 is 8 plus 3 is 11 over 8. Okay. Now we can factor yet. Okay? So when you're looking for factors, one thing you have to remember is that you can only factor once. So in other words, I could factor 4 and 8, but I can't factor the 4 again if I reduce it. So look, I could factor 4 and 8 and change that to what? To 2 2, and 4. Oh, what am I doing? 4 and 1. 4, take out the 4s. There's 1 4 and 2 4s, right? So 4 over 8 is the same as 1/2, or 1 over 2. If I take out the 4s, there's 1 4 and 2 4s. Okay? Now, can I factor the 4 again and reduce the 2?
Yes.
Not once I cross it out once. Okay? Once I cross out the 4 and write a 1, I can't factor it again. Okay? Raiden?
Which one do you do first when you have 3?
It doesn't matter. I can either factor this to 4, I could either factor this to, factor these two and write 2 and 1, or I could factor the 4 and 8 and write 1 and 2.
But then you would get different numbers.
No, I wouldn't.
How wouldn't you? Because if...
We'll try it.
2...
Is there anything else we can reduce? Otherwise, just multiply. 1 times 1 times 11. And 2 times 5 is 10. Times 2 is 20. Okay?
Oh,
Any questions on that? All right. Open your books. Page 173. No, 172. Start with number 8. And do 8 through 32 evens. 8 through 32 evens.